Hello, welcome to Slice 8 of my Twin Peaks journey, and I seriously think I actually ate a bit too much cherry pie. Yeah. Whew. Right. On with the video. I'm going to be talking about the 10th, 11th, and 12th episodes of Season 2, I believe. 3 episodes on from Leland's death and, kind of the culmination of the Laura Palmer storyline. So just moving through these past 3 episodes, in very free form fashion. There's a lot to kind of think about. One of my favorite moments, probably of the whole series, is when Benjamin Horne is in jail. He's still a suspect in Laura's murder, and Pete finally memorized his name. Jack Nance's character, Pete, turns up to visit Ben in the cell, and he plays a recording of Catherine's voice, and Benjamin Horne suddenly finds out that Catherine is alive and that she is going to screw him over big time, and Pete has this moment of such pure, unadulterated glee at playing this cassette tape. He's almost like, just kind of walking outside the cell, just loving this moment of getting to stick it to the guy who has been sticking it to his wife. I just love that moment where Pete has such a thrill of kind of kicking Ben Horne when he was down. It was awesome to watch. Josie has returned, and I really don't know what her motivations are. It seems to me like she really does love the sheriff, Harry, and wants to be protected by him. We've learned her backstory. There's a guy in Hong Kong who kind of picked her up when she was young and kind of feels like he owns her, and so she's been at Twin Peaks for years to kind of marry into the mill business, the sawmill, and there's all sorts of double crossing going on, but I'm not quite sure it's all matching up quite as neatly as it should. There's just double cross after double cross. I think I'm kind of losing track slightly, because she was plotting against Catherine with Ben Horne, and Catherine was plotting with Ben Horne against Josie. I'm not quite sure which is which. There's lots of double crossing going on basically, and there's a key element there that just didn't seem to make sense to me. It may very well if I looked into it, but again, moving through the series in kind of binge format, which I was thinking about that the other day. I don't think it's maybe the best way to do shows like this, is to binge watch them. And in the early 90s, and well, I guess you could do it with VHS tapes and record the show, but there's no way to just binge watch an entire show. You have to watch week by week, and if you wanted to watch episodes again without recording them, you'd have to wait for reruns and stuff. So I think digesting a show a week at a time is a really good format, and perhaps I'm kind of taking in too much, but regardless, the Josie thing, I'm not sure where that's gonna go. There's a very interesting take a shot, very interesting scene between Catherine and Josie, where Catherine's like, I'm going to ruin you unless you do exactly what I say, and you're going to be my maid, and you're going to basically be my slave. So Josie's life has been turned completely upside down. But yeah, that's what I was, the bone of contention I had was with Andrew Packard, who Josie married and is dead by the time Twin Peaks starts, and it's revealed that he's alive, but the element of Ben Horne was threatening Josie with the truth about her late husband's death, which implies that she had a hand in killing him. Or was it her kind of master from Hong Kong who did it? I don't know. I'm not quite sure where all the lines kind of meet up, but towards the end of one of the episodes, Andrew is revealed to be alive, and Catherine says to her brother, well, it's all going to plan. And it's like, it felt a bit like, we need another shock for this episode. Let's bring that character back from the dead, who we never knew to begin with. It just seemed a bit odd, and especially that he would be in the next room. It just seemed a bit too much kind of on the nose, if you will. The Nadine storyline is fun to watch. I'll admit, seeing Nadine in high school, and everyone's kind of just accepting it and stuff, and she's got the hots for Mike. But as I was saying before, how horrifying I thought that scene was when she woke up and she was a kid again, or a teenager again, and Ed had to kind of face this realization that his wife has changed. That kind of the hard feeling I had for that scene, like, holy shit, that would be so horrible if that happened to you in real life, and your significant other was trapped in another time in their brain, and had forgotten everything or whatever. That kind of is dissipated now, where it's purely played for laughs, pretty much, and Ed is just kind of the, you know, given the kind of the gawping looks whenever she does something crazy, or she has this ridiculous strength where she's throwing people almost hundreds of feet into the air, and it's going quite into the realm of slapstick, which is enjoyable but not as effective as that first scene where she woke up. And yeah, I just thought there was something to that maybe they didn't capitalize on. But again, Twin Peaks, it's weird, and it will go for the laughs when it wants to. The Bobby Shelley stuff has kind of taken a bit of a backseat so far, especially with Leo. That seems to have disappeared, kind of. Again, with so many things going on, you can't put focus on every single storyline in every single episode. But Bobby is trying to get a job with Ben Horn, and he finally seems to get one. Audrey is kind of slinking around the Great Northern like she used to, and kind of just being nosy and getting into other people's business. There's been more stuff with her and Cooper, which I've liked. I'm not sure what the point is, where Carl McLaughlin stepped in and said, okay, I can't do scenes with her anymore, well, we have to stop this romance angle. But I like her character, but again, it feels like the stakes were so high with her character, and she went through such an ordeal. And now she's a little, you know, but again, I think that's kind of just the nature of it when you have such a serious storyline and then it ends, you know. And then what, you know? So there's definitely a tonal inconsistency in that sense, where everything is really bright and peppy for the most part. Now that we've moved on from Laura's storyline, we have Jean Reno back in the mix. He's trying to nail it to Cooper and get him kind of set up and arrested. And Cooper's FBI license has been suspended. He's surrendered his badge and gun. I liked his kind of goodbye scene at the sheriff's department between him and the sheriff. They've had kind of a bromance throughout the entire series, and him giving him the Bookhouse Boys kind of badge was quite a sweet moment, I thought. But just as he's about to leave, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. The FBI turn up and they said, you know, we got to investigate your actions. I really like this because Cooper is kind of going off the grid a little bit, and he does cross over the Canadian border and gets involved in this hairy situation at One-Eye Jack's where people get killed. So I want to mention actually that episode when they rescue Audrey and Hawk turns up to kind of save the day. I just want to mention I love Hawk. I think his acting is pretty average at times. Like, there's just parts where I just don't feel too convinced by him, but I don't care because I just really like Hawk for some reason. He's one of my kind of favourite characters that I don't think is a great character at all, isn't written that well, isn't even that performed that well, but I really like him for some reason. He just seems like someone you'd want to kind of you know, be, you know, a protector of you, or be your friend who you could rely on, you know. Seems like a nice guy. I mean, just looking at his face, he seems like a nice person, and I kind of am drawn to that. I like him. Anyway, so Cooper's being set up, and intriguing to see how they kind of kept him in Twin Peaks, because he is kind of the heart of the show, and all this stuff with the dreams and everything is just intrinsically linked with his character. He seems to be this kind of central hub of weird things. Well, I guess maybe not the central hub, because the whole fucking town is weird, but of the, you know, the supernatural things, the dreams, the visions, and the giant, and the message that came from space with his name in it, although we've now learned that it was sent from somewhere in the woods and picked up in space. Major Briggs has disappeared, and by the last moments of the last episode I just finished watching, he has reappeared again in his pilot's outfit, and things aren't too good. So I'm intrigued to see where that's going to go, and I hope that again, I'm getting a bit antsy that because people shit over the second season so much, maybe there's going to be interesting storylines that just don't get wrapped up, and that's what I'm worried about, is that things I'm intrigued to see where they're going to go won't get wrapped up. We have James leaving town, you know, after Maddie was murdered, you know, he left Donna, you know, high and dry, and just took off on his bike. Meets this woman, Evelyn, and he very quickly found himself in a Sunset Boulevard kind of situation, if you know what I'm talking about. And that one is it's you know, it's interesting enough, that storyline with James, but it again feels very much like Sunset Boulevard in a way. Well, not really. I mean, there's other elements to it because she's being beaten up by her wealthy husband, but it just feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel connected with Twin Peaks. It's off somewhere else. I mean, she says, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Twin Peaks." So obviously this is outside of Twin Peaks, and yeah, it just doesn't feel as connected to the rest of the story, even though it's a character who has been so important. It's done well. I want to see where it goes next, but it doesn't feel. It feels outside of everything else. Another storyline that's kind of cropped up is Norma's mother, Vivian, comes into town, and you know, Norma's kind of obsessing over this anonymous food critic who's going to be coming in and maybe stopping by the diner, and she wants everything to be perfect and to get a good review because it could really put them on the map or bring in more customers and things like that, outside customers. Her mother comes to visit, and we instantly, I mean, what I loved about Norma's mother is the character is that I think she probably has about maybe 5 up to 6 minutes of scenes in like the past few episodes that I've seen, and it was so impactful. You instantly got what it was about. This strained relationship between a mother and a daughter, you know, one of those parents who is never satisfied with what their child does. I think a lot of people can relate to that, or at least can empathize with that, and I just found it to be a really kind of genuinely heartbreaking kind of mini story within everything else. Was this kind of, no other way to put it, strained mother-daughter relationship. So I really liked that. It was it gave Norma a lot of character and added depth that I enjoyed very much, and I really like the actress who plays her. Hank has been an interesting one. I can't help it. He's been an interesting one because, you know, he has such a great kind of poker face as far as Norma's concerned, and yeah, you know, I'm turning my life around. He seems like such a nice guy when he's like, yeah, I want to do right by you and everything, and then he goes off and he does these horrible things, and now he's in cohorts with Jean Reno and trying to rope in Norma's new father-in-law, or would it be stepdad, her new stepdad, who just married her mother and gets introduced to the series, and he happens to be an ex-con who was in prison with Hank. How convenient.
How convenient.
There was something else I had on the tip of my tongue, and see, there's so much to remember. But right, so yeah, Hank, where's he gonna end up, you know? And I hope that doesn't get left loose-ended as well. They briefly touched on Norma and Ed again, which I liked. I liked that wasn't completely abandoned. And there's another key one I'm thinking of. Right, it's really probably the least kind of consequential storyline in the whole show, and that's the kind of love triangle between Lucy, Andy, and Dick Tremaine, who I was singing the praises of in a previous video, and it seemed like his character was done when he offered Lucy the money to abort the child she has that might be his, and she kind of, you know, just get out, I don't want to see you again. I thought that was the last we've seen of Dick Tremaine, but he's back in the show, back in the story, and vying for the attention and affection of Lucy again, and he wants to be he wants to accept the responsibility of being the father to her child, if he is the father. And he kind of goes through a whole odyssey of of kind of checking if his sperm is okay. It goes flying across the sheriff's department floor. Lots of comedy around that. Ultimately, he finds out that his sperm have gotten better again. You know, like he's not as barren as he thought he was, and so it's a kind of, we don't know who the father is kind of thing. Very soap opera-esque. And so they agree to kind of be cordial, but you know, Dick is Dick, and he's a dick. You know, there's a great moment actually when he offered Lucy the money for the abortion, and she, you know, tells him to leave and stuff, and she slams the door, and you just hear her in the room going, "Dick," which, you know, it's appropriate. It's an appropriate name for the character, but the actor is just so brilliant. I read that he's a Scottish actor, Ian Buchanan, I believe, and he's just that kind of that dick, that I love his character. He's such a smarmy twat. I love that kind of that smile he has. He does it so perfectly. Brilliant. I really just enjoy seeing him whenever he's on screen, even though he's just a complete knobhead. One of my favorite small characters. So yeah, I think that's about it really. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but there's no kind of real. Oh, I guess the Cooper stuff, but not too much is being placed on that as far as the central story. There's lots of other things going on, like what happened with Major Briggs. Why did he disappear? How has he come back? What's going on with that? We've heard about the White Lodge and the Black Lodge, and how these kind of two kind of mythical locations could possibly be real. I mean, we've seen some weird stuff so far. It's entirely possible that these lodges could in fact materialize, and I might see them in the show.
My people believe that the White Lodge is a place where the spirits that rule man and nature here reside. There is also a legend of a place called the Black Lodge, the shadow self of the White Lodge. There, you will meet your own shadow self. My people call it the Dweller on the Threshold. The Dweller on the Threshold.
And yeah, so it's the Cooper stuff and Denise. The second to last episode I watched had the opening credits with David Duchovny, and I'm like, oh, cool. And in he walks, dressed as a woman. I have to say, not too hard on the eyes. I actually quite enjoyed Denise's character and the past kind of thing with Cooper. You know, again, when people come in and they kind of know Cooper, it gives him a bit more character just purely by association that he knows these people, I think. And I like kind of trying to piece together what Cooper's backstory is, because he's such a fun character to watch. So anyone who comes in and is a previous kind of acquaintance of his, I enjoy seeing that on screen, you know. And also we have the lingering kind of drama of Cooper's former partner, who kind of went a bit mad, and their ongoing kind of chess game where they're sending each other the moves, and his partner is already kind of guessing what his next move is going to be, and he's wondering what the hell's going on, what the mind games are. So yeah, there's lots of things going on, you know, whether it's, you know, who's the father, or, you know, whether it's, you know, what's going to happen with this character and that character, and this character's alive, and Benjamin Horn is going off the deep end. It's been great to see him get his comeuppance, and now he just seems to be spiraling out of control somewhat. You know, he's just moving everything around in his office and getting emotional watching old family home movies and things like that. Anyway, I'm just talking about all the scenes, so I'll leave it there for now. This has been quite a lengthy one, but there was just so many side stories to kind of keep up with and so on. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that, you know, that the next kind of 5 episodes or so will be watchable enough, but I do feel like it's quite a drop-off in quality, just in terms of how tense and serious and heavy everything was up until Leland's death and the culmination of Laura's story mystery. Now it feels like it's treading water a bit, but if you're gonna have treading water, I'll take Twin Peaks treading water. That's still pretty damn enjoyable to me. So yeah, I'll leave it with that, and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
I wouldn't treat a dog like this unless my own daughter.
Oh, as usual, you're overreacting.
Am I? Maybe I am. But they're my reactions. And the hurt I feel is my hurt. And how I react is none of your damn business.